If you're the beneficiary of a life insurance policy, you basically are going to need three things to properly make the claim. So first thing is you got to know what company you're working with. And if you just know mom or dad had a policy, but you don't know where it was, then it might be easier to find that if you start looking at their bank records, or if you know they have an insurance agent, or you're going to have to do some digging. Once you find the company that they're working with, then you need to contact the company and get the claims documents, and there'll be a packet you download and needs to get filled out. Then you need to attach the third item, which is a death certificate. Death certificates are usually produced a few weeks after the person passes away, and you're going to need the original in some cases. So I would recommend that when you're getting the death certificate, order extras. And then you send it all off to the insurance company. They go through and take a look at everything. Assuming it's all correct, then they're typically going to pay out in the form of a check directly to the beneficiary. If you don't do anything, eventually the insurance company just like keeps all the money, and then they have to throw big parties with it and stuff like that. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't file the claim, then eventually the insurance company is going to find out that the person passed away, because they do these periodic checks through Social Security. So they'll get a list from Social Security for all the policyholders they had that are deceased now. And if there's no claim ever been made, they'll make an effort to try to find the beneficiaries if they have that info on file. And if that never can happen, then it goes to the lost property fund at the state where that person lived before. And then it'll sit there. And a lot of people worry like, oh, the state's taking all my money or whatever. It just sits on a ledger. The state holds that money, and they make the interest off of it instead of you making the interest off of it. And then you need to go to the state lost property fund and fill out their paperwork and show proof you are the beneficiary, and then you can collect it from there. Oh, it'll stay there. And there are, I believe, billions of dollars in the lost property fund right now. So if you have a member of your family or a loved one that you believe you would have been the beneficiary of, and they passed away, and whether you made claims or not, you should just go check. You can go in there, you put in the person's name you're searching, it's public record, and it'll show you if there's any unclaimed property under that person's name, and then you can go through the process of collecting that. But that typically happens, I believe, like if there's no claim made longer than like 12 or 18 months after they've passed away. Sometimes it could even be longer than that. Because a life insurance policy is tax-free. There's not really anything you're gonna be like worried about. An annuity has tax consequences, or it could. So when you go to make that claim, you should decide, do I want this money taxed now, taxed later? How do I want to go about doing it? So it's going to depend on the tax classification of the money, how you take action and go forward. It depends if it's an IRA or not an IRA. If it's an IRA, then it's going to follow IRA rules, which are, no matter what product it's invested in, they're all going to follow the same set of rules. It was money that had never been taxed yet. When you inherit that money, you're going to be the one responsible for the taxes. You have a maximum of 10 years before you have to convert the money from pre-tax to post-tax and pay that. Some people will take a little bit out every year. Some people will wait until the year where they have like less income and draw it. If you're near retirement, some people are going to wait until they retire, then claim it during those other years, because you're trying to avoid pushing into a higher tax percentage bracket than what you're already in. Then if it's a non-IRA annuity, then that means it was after tax money that went in, but annuities are tax deferred. So then if your family member had this for like 10 years and they didn't draw any money out of it, then they've been compounding and building interest in here for 10 years. None of that interest has ever been taxed. So then that interest is taxable to you once you inherit the contract. But if you're a beneficiary, you have the option to do something called a non-qualified stretch. So an annuity that's funded with pre-tax dollars is called a non-qualified annuity from the tax category. A non-qualified stretch is where you open your own annuity, you transfer that money into yours, and now that annuity has a certain amount of money every year that has to be deducted from it and claimed as taxes, but it's a much smaller amount, and then you can stretch that out over the rest of your life. Knowing this ahead of time is important, because if my family member dies, I find out that I inherited a non-qualified annuity, I just go fill out all the claim paperwork, send them a death certificate, and it processes, then I'm gonna get a check in the mail. That check is taxable. I didn't do the steps to avoid the taxation immediately. So I guess when you're inheriting money, one of the first things to look at is, what is the tax classification of the money I'm inheriting? And then that can start to help you dictate, well, how will I go about claiming this? Will I roll it into my own account? Will I perform a stretch? Will I just pay all the taxes up front and then have the money liquid? So there can be repercussions that can happen, like things that can take place. Like one of the common things that can happen is if you're in a lower income bracket and then you end up taking it all at once and it pushes you into a higher bracket, then you're gonna keep less of that money than you would have kept if you took it out in installments over a longer period of time, because you would have been taxed at a lower percentage. So that's like one of the ways. If you're near or of Medicare age, Medicare pricing is based on your adjusted gross income from 2 years ago. So if I'm on Medicare and then anyone other than my spouse passes away and I inherit money from them and that money becomes taxable, it's gonna raise my adjusted gross income in that year. If the amount of money I inherited was enough to push me into the upper brackets, then 2 years later, I'm gonna get a new bill from Medicare, and my monthly Medicare premium could have gone from, let's say, $170 a month, all the way up to over $500 a month. And it's gonna stay that way until the next year where your adjusted gross income shows lower again, and then it's gonna end up dropping down. Yeah, I think when someone passes away, they definitely should seek out advice, like for a couple of different reasons, especially if you're coming into a situation that's outside of the norm. Like a lot of people will inherit money and they're still in their phase of trying to grow and build themselves. If you don't have a lot and you're receiving a lot, you're now going into unknown territory, right? You didn't have millions of dollars, but now you're receiving that. You should probably be working with a professional, one, to claim it correctly, but two, to make sure you have it. There's a crazy statistic out there that says that, I believe it's like, there's a crazy statistic out there that 2 out of 10 people who receive a larger than normal windfall of money, being a beneficiary on large financial account or winning the lottery, 2 out of 10 people will have any of the money left just 5 years later. Yeah, like 80% of the people are going to have unintentionally blown that money, squandered it, blown it, paid off the wrong things, but they won't have any of it left later. That number is very different for people who are inheriting money that they would not consider a large windfall. If I'm worth $500,000 and I'm receiving as a beneficiary 30 grand, I'm probably not going to end up blowing it and screwing my situation up because I'm used to having that kind of money. It's not going to change any of my habits. But if I'm worth 50,000 and I'm inheriting 500,000, I don't know what it's like to have that kind of money. And oftentimes that's the overnight millionaire, the overnight success. But when you just get a letter that says you now have inherited X amount of dollars, that is sort of an overnight success. Right. And people don't know how to handle it. So the long answer to your question is, or the short answer to your question, right, is yes, you should seek out professional advice if you're entering into a territory that's outside of your norm, for sure.